Paul Reed here, live feed reads. My
Good day,
co-host
Tampa
Jason
Bay.
Crawford. It's what is it? It's May the 3rd. Ooh, Friday the 13th. Okay.
Friday the 13th.
Going
Today's
home
day.
and staying home.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. A great game. I was about 5 rows up from the winning score.
Nice.
It was rocking old Emily. Hopefully they can take it to Toronto.
Yeah.
Home round 1 victory.
Boy, Emily Arena's been having a lot of action lately.
Oh yeah,
like a lot going on down there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm a little tuckered out. Of course, it was the overtime game number 1. Number 2, it took an hour for the Uber or Lyft, whichever one I called, to get to me. And I walked about a mile away from Emily down to that Publix on Bayshore. So I freaking
was it traffic that was that bad?
Oh, it's packed. Yeah. Well, the cops block off everything because people are walking and being dispersed, so they don't. The Ubers really can't get in.
Yeah.
So you walk outside the zone, but whatever reason, it took an hour. I sat there for an hour.
Man.
Yeah, it was rough. But anyway, so I don't know who knows or doesn't know, but of course Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard.
Yep.
And Amber Heard is countersuing Johnny Depp, both for basically defamation. All right. And of course, defamation is that you make a false statement about someone that causes them damages. Johnny Depp's basically stating that he lost at least the Pirates in the Caribbean 6th role as a result, which was millions of dollars and so forth. Jason probably knows more about what's going on than I do, but Jason would agree, and probably the internet would agree, that in the court of public opinion, Johnny Depp would win, is going to win. But unfortunately, in the court of law, defamation cases are extremely difficult for the plaintiffs, which is who Johnny Depp is, to prevail, especially when you're a public figure, which he is.
Before you dive in,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot on YouTube, a lot of streamers and YouTubers, and someone will say this, and this person won't like what that other person said, and then I'm gonna sue you for defamation, or I'm gonna take you to court, and like a lot of times I just watch these cases fizzle out. Sometimes they come to fruition because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that plays on behind the scenes, but I'm seeing a lot more of these. Is that?
Well, you may be seeing a lot more of them, but are you seeing a lot more victories by the plaintiff who brings the case?
No, not necessarily.
You hear about it, and then you don't ever hear about it again because they lose, or
they settle. Yeah, because they don't want to spend the money.
One of 2 things. My guess is they lose because defamation cases are extremely difficult to prevail, and you have to prove damages. I could say all kinds of things about you, and you could say all kinds of things about me. They may be false, but if it doesn't cost you any financial damages, then you don't lose your job, or you don't do this. Then you don't have a case.
Yeah, right.
You have to have damages. It just can't be he called me a this or he said that and so forth and so on. It's I did all those things, and so what? What do you mean so what? I didn't like it. So what? Did you lose your job? Did you lose your job? No.
Right. Is there a floor on like what the damages need to be? So like some of the streamers may have lost a couple of sponsors or 30,000 subscribers or something like that.
If you can prove your losses, your damages is what they're called, then if you want to do it for $500, knock yourself out.
Okay.
But I mean, that's you're going to spend a lot more.
You're going to spend more than that.
Right. And so, it's but so on a public figure, let me just read that. So the Johnny Depp has to prove that actual malice for this type of defamation lawsuit because he's a public figure, which basically means that, and this relates to what is in the Washington Post op-ed. So you have to look at the article. Okay, you can't just look at what's going on in this courtroom about who's the bigger B or D, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
You got to look at this article what did she say? And did she know it was false?
Okay.
Or did she basically, with reckless disregard as to whether or not it was true or false, publish that article? Okay. If any of it,
And that's what the jury has to
yeah,
decide.
if any
Okay.
of it's true, he loses. Truth is an absolute defense to defamation. And I'll give you an
Okay.
example.
Okay.
If I say, let's say you're a convicted felon,
Okay.
and I just go out there and I'm blasting you all over billboards, and
Sure.
Jason Crawford's a convicted felon, and,
Yep.
and you can't get a job, and
Yep.
you can't blah blah, you lose whatever,
Sure.
and you sue me for defamation,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose.
Because it's true. Right.
Correct.
Okay.
And so again, I haven't been watching the case, but again, it's got to be what she said in that op-ed post. And my understanding is it's just kind of generic in the fact she's saying that she was the victim of sexual abuse or domestic violence, and that because of this hashtag Me Too movement, there was backlash against her. That's pretty generic and pretty vague. Again, I haven't been watching the trial, but I guarantee you there's probably, and you may know, text messages,
Yeah.
emails, tweets, voicemail messages, witnesses, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, they've had.
And
witnesses.
so it's not whether Amber Heard was a bigger biatch to Johnny than Johnny was to her. It's, were they mutually violent towards one another? And if so, he loses.
So from a legal point of view,
right?
If what she wrote in the article is true, is verifiable, is true,
right,
then he loses because it's true. Okay.
Period.
And it ends.
Or well, hold on.
Okay.
But even if not, did she have knowledge that it was false?
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
You can't. That I mean,
yeah.
You have to prove what she wrote in there basically was a lie.
I think what they're going for at this point is that she has blamed him for being the aggressor in the article, and then she was the aggressor in a lot of the statements.
That's where the court of public opinion is saying she was worse to him than he was to her.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Johnny Depp is, quote unquote, in the court of public opinion, winning.
Yeah.
But in the court of law, in the court of law, let's say
not who's worse.
75 her, 25 him, right?
It doesn't matter.
He loses.
Right.
He loses because what she said was true.
True.
Now I don't know whether it is or isn't, but what people watching are thinking, oh man, Johnny Depp, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, great guy. Boy, she was a real biatch to him, and this, that, and the other. That's maybe true, but did he reciprocate some of that violence to her? Again, I don't know, but again, my guess is they probably have, like you said, tweets, text messages, email, witnesses, and things of that nature.
Yeah, they've pulled a number of character witnesses. They pulled a number of incident witnesses from incidents that were like involved with some of what she wrote, that where a person was there. But I mean, a lot of these things are from 6+ years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you remember that weekend when you were on the plane? And I'm like, no. Or was Johnny wearing this? And I'm like,
well, let me ask you this. Did Johnny Depp, when he was on the stand, admit to doing anything at all to her?
Only softly. Like he said, I put my hands on her shoulders and I moved her aside and set her on the bed. And said, that's it, no more. Okay. And I walked out, and I'm like, yeah, man. In what marriage?
Right. And like you had brought up before, again, whether it's true or not, the fact when they said Amber Heard pooped on his bed.
Right.
Well, of course, in the court of public opinion, she's lost already. Whether she did it or didn't do it, the allegation's there. And And so people are siding with Johnny because, oh, she must be crazy and
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. But again, that's why, I don't know what's going to happen, who's
And
going to win, who's going to lose.
if you
But
have
don't
the
be
money,
don't be surprised if
yeah,
she wins based on the law.
I think there's a possibility that she might technically win legally from a legal perspective and
Right.
still lose in the court of public
Oh,
opinion, because
well, I
everybody,
think
I mean, social media wasn't this way 20 years ago. When defamation lawsuits, the rules for defamation,
right.
slander, and all these things were
Yeah.
being made up, the spotlight on this stuff wasn't there. You couldn't watch the whole thing play out on YouTube stories and
Right.
live
Oh, I
video
agree.
cameras with multiple angles and perfect sound, like that. What you had to go to Perry Mason for that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You know what I mean?
No, I do. But
But
like I said, well, I think you're right. The
Matlock,
court of public, he's already won, she's already lost.
I think
But
so.
the reason I just wanted to bring it up because defamation, it's a tort. I've never prosecuted one or brought one. They're just very difficult
Yeah,
to prevail from a plaintiff's perspective.
yeah.
And for your average person like you and I, you
Hmm.
know, there's the damages portion. Did you lose your job, or did you like you said, did you lose people
Sure.
on your web podcast
Right.
that cost you money? The average Joe, none of that happens. Even though
Right.
you may have been defamed, you
Yeah.
don't have any actual damages. And
I'm not
so,
on the jury, but I think one of the witnesses at least was able to establish in conversation. I think it was his agent in conversations with his connections with the studios and the producers that, like, this is why Johnny lost the roles that he lost. So I think that
oh
they've
no,
been
no, no,
able
no,
to
no, no. Oh, I
establish the
believe
damages.
he has damages.
Yeah,
The
I just don't.
question, but the question is, because the
Yeah.
lawyers wouldn't have brought the case if they couldn't prove this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the question is,
Well,
again, was there actual malice on the part of Amber Heard? Meaning, did
mm,
she basically lie in that op-ed, and she knew she was lying?
right.
I'm just telling you, it's very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It'll be
And
interesting to see how it plays
it's
out.
not whether she's lying on the trial in trial,
Yeah.
or what.
She,
It's
she
in
might be
that
doing a couple
in
of other
that
things in
article.
trial.
In that article, was she lying? Yeah, yeah. Again, the article was certainly accused Johnny of being the abuser.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but it's not specific, and if there's any truth to it, even on a small, a minor level, thanks for coming.
So she went on to do speaking engagements on the subject of being abused
Yeah.
by Johnny,
Mm.
and got paid for them. Paid
Yeah.
for them. Does that factor in at all as well, or is that just kind of
You have to. I don't. You'd have
side
to
matter?
see what the complaint, alleges. I haven't read the
Okay.
complaint, but
Okay.
is it did they focus on the op-ed itself,
Yeah.
or did they focus on other things as
They
far
were
as
focused primarily on the op-ed. I think there were some tweets
right?
that came out that I think weren't in evidence, but then they got referenced, and then that kind of became a hairy
I mean,
mess.
think about this. What the heck gets said in a divorce? I mean, is it true? Is it not
Yeah.
true? I mean, there's accusations of infidelity, embezzlement,
Yeah, there's a
domestic
lot going on.
abuse. I mean,
There's a lot going on
again,
in this.
that's why, and you would think, hey, I'm going to sue my spouse for defamation or libel or whatever. Same thing, written versus spoken. And so, but it doesn't, because the damages are not there.
It looks like Barbara's been following it. She says that it's a two-way lawsuit. She's countersuing him, but she hasn't any proof for that she's not lost. All right, she hasn't any proof so far that she's not lost any
Yeah,
And
she
the
doesn't
best
have
is yet to
damages.
come.
She hasn't lost money, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Well,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. It should. I mean, it should be. You think it'll be coming to a close soon, or?
well, what this week the judge was on a, but she had some other issues going on, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking a couple of weeks at most.
Yeah.
I think what they have a cross examination of
Mhm.
her, which that's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if she keeps.
Well, again, I don't know what Jason's talking about.
Yeah, me neither.
But
I'm just
either way,
touching her nose.
all right. Well, that's defamation, and I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it would
it's
not shock me if they both lose the claim and the counterclaim based on the fact they're public
Yeah.
figures, and then what the burden of the level of actual malice that you have to prove is very high. So that's
Yeah.
it. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll when it's all said and done, we'll look back on Friday the 13th and say, yep, kind of thought it was going to be a problem. I was right.
Yeah.
Or there'll be up, he won, and then now there's an appeal that'll go
Barbara
on.
says it looks like it's going to be over around June 1st, so we'll see.
Okay, a
if
couple
that
weeks.
timeline keeps. Yeah.
All right, so it is
All right.
Friday the 13th. It's a beautiful day out.
It
The
is.
Lightning will play tomorrow, Game 7 in Toronto. Go Bolts. With that, on behalf of Mr. Crawford,
Yeah.
we're out.
Thanks for watching.